Hello. 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 Stuck. Hello. No, I'm not American, but I'm seeing people talk about it. So I want to know what the viewpoint is from Americans. Like, if you disagree with ICE, what would be your alternative to the situation? Because I'm seeing people talk about it and they don't give any resolution to the other way of dealing with it. So I'm just curious, as a British person, what is a person's point of view of how to deal with the situation ICE are dealing with without ICE in it? Lamanites. How so? Hello. Taken. As in I'm taken. Yes, I'm aware, yes. But what does what's being a Lamanite or Nephite got anything to do with it? Well, if I recall, because I'm reading the Book of Mormon at the moment, the Lamanites actually intermixed and integrated into the Nephite tribe. So the Lamanites that are present today, they're not just exclusive to the Mesoamericans or the Native Americans. They are found in North America as well. Eventually, yes, but I'm talking about a bit earlier on in the Book of Mormon. The Lamanites that converted back to God, rejoined the covenant, became part of the Nephites, and then the Nephites, once those groups were merged, they went into the Lamanites. So it's not. So you're using the Lamanites and Mesoamericans as an example, but it's not as black and white as that, from what I'm seeing from about ICE. But what I'm trying to ask you is, if you took ICE out of the picture and are still left with dealing with illegal criminals who are acting unlawfully and are not native to as in any of the American continents, and they're going against your laws, what would you suggest would be the alternative? Because I got told last week that Obama had the system in place, but he didn't go too much into like what Obama did. So if you agree with Obama's methods, I'd like to find out what Obama did to see, if ICE is taken out of the situation, could Obama's policies be put back in place? Don't you think the UK has a bigger immigration problem? We do, but we're allowed to talk about other political things, political subjects. At least I do. Because at the moment we've got two political parties, Reform and Restore Britain, that want to crack down on the illegal immigration and illegal criminals, and actually find a sufficient way to actually deport these people. Because I understand that detention centres, yes, they are in place, but it's not. There's bad stuff going on in detention centres, so I personally want something done about it. But with the ICE situation, I'm seeing pro-ICE, anti-ICE stuff, but I'm not actually seeing anybody come up with a good solution on how to deal with the situation without ICE. No, we can't. Well, we technically can now because we are fighting back against the two-tier system. But when Starmer first got in, no, we couldn't. We couldn't pray outside buildings quietly, passively, without being reprimanded by the police. That's fair enough. Yeah, I agree with that. Convention. What would you mean by convention? He said everyone stay apart from the criminals. Is that? Yes, that's why I'm. That's the argument I would have. That's where the argument of restored and reformed is. Even though I don't agree with Nigel Farage being leader of reform, because since he's come back, we have actually had genuine rise of racist members of the political party, as in supporters of the political party coming in and defacing stuff. Whilst when he was not leading the party, you didn't have that. These ancestral lands of criminals came via the Mayflower. So I'm just going through the comments, sorry. Let's have a look. I would say that yes, with the Mayflower is a very complex situation, because I actually have relatives who were on the Mayflower and the other ships that were going over to the Americas at the same time. But the Native Americans had crime long before the Mayflower turned up, before anybody from older Europe came over, because there was infighting, civil wars amongst the tribes. There was even scalping amongst the other tribes before they started communicating with white Europeans and white British people. Who are the randoms? Because I've heard of one. That was the woman that drove off from the car. That was a few months ago. No, I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying when you're using the Mayflower or past migration issues as an example, you're immediately saying they're the entire problem. We didn't have crime until these people turned up, when from my perspective as a British person, we actually acknowledge we have crime amongst our own people, but we can't deal with our crime and deal with somebody else's criminals who are trying to escape their own punishment from their own country. The people from the Mayflower, yes, there may have been criminals on there, but the majority of them were actually coming over for different reasons. They weren't escaping crime. Yes, they were immigrants. Yes, you're correct. But they came over for a better chance of life. Because then they technically would have been classed as economic migrants, because they came over to better their lives. No, I'm not saying. I actually acknowledge that some immigrants are genuine refugees, they're genuine in asylum, and then there's those masquerading as one of those two to escape their own justice system. Some of them are white. Not all of them are people of colour. Yes, but how did he do it? That's what I'm trying to gather. How did he do it? Yeah, seeing from the government's own data, there is a lot of people coming over from safe countries, and there's a rise in people coming over undocumented from safe countries. They use calls from winter. So why isn't that being used now? And why isn't somebody suggesting Trump use that method if he's not already? Well, surely somebody should have mentioned it to him if they haven't already. I'm sure that he is probably doing it in the background as well. The big business I can see, yeah. Sorry. Yes, it is, yeah. As long as they're armed, yes, I can see your point, yep. Hello. Actually, talking about farmers, what a lot of people don't realise that when we talk about modern day populism, it actually originally came from the farmers for better treatment. So, and they were the very first example of populism being protested, and then eventually started being used in more political scenes. But it was the US farmers actually started populism. Yes, it is technically, but I'm talking about the history of populism, which a lot of people complain about. The original concept of populism actually came from the farmers. So when you see farmers protesting today, whether it's in the US or in the UK, Europe, is actually a populist movement, and it's the original movement of populism. Hello. appreciate what you're saying. So I don't like how some of the agents are dealing with people myself, but not all ICE agents are like this. What I'm asking is like, what would the alternative be? Because as we know from Obama, yes, he was heavily deporting people and doing it via the legal methods, but I'm sure there were deaths that were recorded at the time due to, a tussle. So that's why I'm confused, because if Obama had those instances happen, what's the difference between him doing it and Trump having that happen under the same situation? There have been protesters who have been farmers in the US, but it's not as frequent as the UK because we have frequent protests over here. Excuse me. The fun fact, my old para-great-grandfather told him they were... Told who? Told who they were Israelites. Sorry. Yes, they are. I agree with that, because you've got a lot... I actually saw a video recently of a woman in the US talking to... I think it's the US. Talking to a news reporter. I don't know which one. I can't remember which one it was. I think it's CNN or something. And she was saying, I'm going to allow illegal migrants to work on my farm, and I've built a little hut so they can all live in a communal space. And immediately people had flashbacks and says, that is enslavement, because a lot of illegal migrants who work over here, if they get paid at all, that is technically forced labour. So it really does happen. A lot of farms have undocumented workers over there, and the same over here as well. Africa, they all have it. Yes, it's about, if you disagree with ICE, what would be the alternative to how they... what would be the alternative to how to deal with the situation if ICE weren't involved? In some cases that happens, but I'm broadening the subject. Say in the UK, for example, in Europe and in Asian countries, African countries, they will literally be doing it unpaid or on literally the bare minimum. So they're being paid pittance. But we do have migrants who do this. They come over as economic migrants, get a load of get paid, and they send that money off to the families. So that's not exclusive to the US. We do have it here, happening here as well. Man, what do you mean, man? Oop. Confirmed. Don't need to do that. There you go. And is that dealing with illegal criminals or just illegal migrants working? Sure, yep. Hang on a minute.
Good morning, California.
Hello.
Hello, how are you? Do I sound okay?
Yes, yeah, I can hear you now, yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah. First off, thanks for having me up. Second off, I'm actually heading to London for the first time in the fall. I'm flying from the Bay Area on an 11-hour flight to London for 2 nights, and then we're heading down to Paris, and then to Dijon and Strasbourg. I'm staying in Mayfair. Is it nice in Mayfair?
Sorry, can you repeat that? Sorry.
I'm heading to London for the first time in the fall, and I'm staying in London for 2 nights. I'm staying in Mayfair. Is Mayfair a good neighborhood, first off?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'll be good there? Like Mayfair, Soho, all that stuff over there?
It would depend on where you go in London.
Yeah.
Because there is a high crime rate in East London that has been on the rise since the 2010s.
Sure. I'm staying in West End.
So, but from what I'm hearing, North London and West London are okay.
Okay.
But yeah, just be careful when you go to South and East London.
I'm not going to South and East London. I'm staying right by the Palace, over by Hyde Park, in Soho, Mayfair, Marylebone, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, that I think that'll be fine. Yeah.
Cool.
If it was me, in my opinion, I wouldn't even go to London to begin with.
Why? You gotta understand, as Americans, the oldest thing we ever see is like either, there's stuff here that's like 10,000 years old, but it's like, you know what I mean? You guys have stuff from Rome. You know what I mean? To us, that's ancient.
We drive on the left.
Well, I think that's probably so. That's why I will not be driving. But Paris, they drive on the right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to take the train from I think it's King's Cross or whatever down to Paris, and do that, and then spend a couple nights in. I'm staying right by like the Louvre. You know what I mean? I know where I know not to go out into the neighborhoods, and then Dijon and Strasbourg, I'm not too worried about at all. But regardless, you guys have some questions about American immigration. So the way that Obama did it, right, is he went after these major corporations and large corporate farmers, that kind of thing, and then went after the employers. So if the employers were hiring these people, they were the ones that were going to take it on the chin, so they wouldn't pay them, right? And that made people, obviously not have to. We didn't have to have this military ICE thing running around the city streets of Chicago, New York, LA, all these places, which is just stupid, right? Like nobody wants to see all of a sudden armed personnel walking down your streets. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but we're not used to that in the United States. So that's what's causing all the problems over here. It's not the end of the world. You know what I mean? Like this is a country. I mean, the Irish came over here in loads at one point, and people had the same problem, right? We've done this to every immigrant group, and we'll be fine. We're gonna be. The biggest problem we got is robots, AI, all of this stuff is happening. The United States we're about to walk through the looking glass when it comes to technology, right? Because we have it. You know what I mean? Like there's AI and it is coming. We got Elon. We got all these guys. We got a guy, Elon. He's about to be worth $1 trillion. Think about that. How could we be in that much trouble if people are making $1 trillion in the United States? We'll be fine.
That's a fair opinion. Did you mean to come up, Frank, or did I accidentally invite you up?
Well, I was scrolling through because he invited me to a stream, so I invited him back in because he had to turn off his phone. And then this woman got wassy and kicked me out. I was like, okay. So when I was scrolling through, it came through yours, and I was like, oh, I think you're Anthony's partner, right?
Yep.
If you're still together or not, I don't know. Who cares? And then when I was scrolling through, I had an invite from you again. I was like, oh, I'll just join it, bugger it.
You been
I have a
alright?
question for you guys, though.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah.
What do you guys think is going on in America? Like based on what you're seeing on the telly.
I've been to America 3 times.
Which parts?
Michigan mainly, and then went to LA once, and they couldn't drive for shit.
LA's got the best drivers in the world until one drop of rain hits the ground.
They almost drive off the road.
That's good driving. That's what we do here. We drive fast.
Use your indicators, or should I say blinkers?
Those are optional. You should figure it out. In California, I grew up in Chicago. So that's that's the Midwest.
Well, the airport's mental over there, that's for sure.
What's that?
Chicago's airport is mental.
Oh, it's the worst airport in the country. San Francisco's is probably the best, but don't go to Florida's airports. You're going to feel like poor, like it's going to feel third world. Like, what is this? This is gross. European airports, gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous places. Like, I was in Gatwick one time catching a flight back from the Canaries, and I was like, I didn't know airports were like this. Oh my goodness. I can't wait to fly into Heathrow.
Well, that's the main airport in England.
Right. Well, I mean, O'Hare is semi-nice. Like, you look around and you're like, okay, you go to New York. I saw a rat when I got off the plane the first time I was in New York City. So,
wow.
The thing about America is it's really about 12 countries altogether. Mm-hmm. When you really look at it, it's culturally different. So there's just a lot going on in the United States when it comes to, you think of New York, let's put it this way, New York is a 7-hour flight almost to Los Angeles.
Well, it's 9 hours from London Heathrow to Chicago. I know that for sure.
That's a far flight, right? So I mean, you think about that distance. That's like flying from, I don't know, from London. How far is it to Moscow? Probably an 8-hour flight
down the road.
How long of a flight is that?
I don't know. I've never been.
Yeah, I mean, I'm guessing it's like an 8-hour flight, right? It's pretty far. So I mean, it's like, if you saw
London to Moscow? Nah. I don't think it's 8 hours. It's probably like 3.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it's about that because it's 45 minutes to get to France. So it should be within 2 hours to get to Russia, even under an hour, depending on what flight you use, where you go.
So that would be like
Gatwick to Bulgaria. That was about 2.5 hours.
Oh gosh, that's nothing for us. Like, I'm
going to traveling to you is like going over the pond.
Like, I'm going to go drive home today for being on the road this week, and I drove 4 hours, 2 hours, and now I'm going to drive another 3 hours home today. Like, that's completely normal for us. Like, no big deal. Like, that's just how we live over here. Everything's really far apart is my main point. So
let's just say this. I hope you can walk, because the UK, we walk everywhere. We don't drive everywhere. And I know for a fact when I was over there, you have drive-through ATMs. Yeah, we don't have over there.
We do that.
You go get out of the car and park your car and then start walking.
Sorry, I just got a work thing that came in.
That's
well,
right.
I grew up in Chicago, which is like a walking city. And New York, if you go to New York, that's a total walking city. Like, so it depends on what part of the country you're in. You know what I mean? Like, it all is relative. It's like, if you could go to America, you could travel for your entire life and not be to every part of it. It's just weird. That's how big it is. So the point being is, the reason we get in so many arguments, right, is that the life of living in Texas is so different than the life living in in New York, and somehow we've got to kind of keep this whole thing together and working. Like, imagine if all of Europe. I mean, you guys do have the European Union, which you guys kind of jumped out of, but the point being is, imagine trying to get everybody to work together in the same sort of
Shit, that would only happen if the world collapsed. Independence Day.
Well, we do it every day, though. Like, people from Texas are living in New York City. Somebody from New York is living in LA, and somebody from LA is living in New York or in Texas. It's just like I've lived all over this country. We're kind of united by a well, Churchill said that the United States and England are a common people separated by a common language, which is funny. But the point being is, in the United States, we have sort of this cultural kind of elasticity around us where we all like American football. We all like, these certain things that we kind of just unite us all together. Like, we don't care about European football, but watch what happens during the World Cup. You're going to see us with a bunch of flags. Nobody watches soccer here. Nobody. Ever. Ever. Never happens. But we will unite.
What's up, Green?
Did you want to come up, Green?
He's actually in my chat. I just have this muted. Otherwise, you'd be hearing other Americans on my headset.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to jump off, guys. You guys have a good one. Thanks for the advice on London. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, thanks for coming up.
I've only just realised that this thing says ice.
Yep.
Those raiders, right?
Their organisation's more complex than just raiding, but raiding's the extreme side to that. Yeah, it's 18 plus. You're not meant to be under 18 on TikTok lives anyway.
Mate, TikTok is just bananas as it is. I like how you can talk about this kind of stuff on TikTok, but if it's anything else, it's a no-no.
You can get restrictions. Like if somebody reports you for being offensive over there, you can get restricted. Like, I'm trying not to be offensive.
Yeah, I talk on Messenger and WhatsApp now. Freedom of speech anywhere.
This happened years ago, but I tried to send something over to my partner. It was an article. Or it was either I did or he was doing it, and Facebook just prevented it from going through immediately. That she deleted the whole thing, and that was an article that was containing something that was vital information, but it was flagged as needing to be censored, and it wasn't rude or anything. But Facebook flagged it as being offensive, so that somebody was clearly monitoring stuff.
Well, Facebook is stupid as well, but I use the Messenger and WhatsApp.
Yeah, it was on Messenger. But this happened. It was weird. So what is your perspective? Because you've been to the US. What is your perspective of ICE?
Don't know. I didn't see any.
Okay.
I was over there for one thing, and that was it.
Okay.
Do you know what? The time I went over, because I went over there last year for the summer, and it was during the Mexican raid in LA at the time.
Yeah.
I went over there, and I was like, mate, I don't see no raid anywhere. There's nothing. I said the only thing I probably saw was the leftover remaining burning buildings. And that was it. But they said you had to go further south in Los Angeles to find it. I was like, yeah. I was near the airport.
Yeah, that's not surprising.
I don't know. America's different to this country. It's all spread out.
Yeah.
The one thing I can say is, though, America has a lot of bullshit because they say, oh, we love travelling. Yeah, right. You don't. I find the UK people travel more than you do. Yeah, fair enough, you got like 50 different states, but actually go and explore